Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name, as you may or may not know, is TheKinformant, the crypto kin, boy wonder, and as we all know, I like to bring you guys all of the kin news here as frequently as I can. However, there has been so much going on in the past couple days that I can't fit it all in this video. Partially because I don't want to, also partially it's not the most interesting stuff in the world, but I'm covering half of what has happened, half of the Medium blog posts since the last video, and I'm leaving the other half behind for right now. I may end up making a video on them, but I am not sure. But as I see that I'm getting to just over a minute here, there is a lot to talk about, so we are going to get right into it. But we're going to start off with something nice and fun and lighthearted, and that would be the Kin London Developers Meetup, being run by Popa Bogdan. He basically wanted to have a place, meetup for people in London, for Kin community members and developers to meet up. He said that after attending the Ambassador meetup in New York in April, that he has wanted to do something similar ever since, and so he is doing that for London, for the Kin community, on Friday 1st of February, at 7 p.m. I'll put a link to his post below in the description, so you guys can all check it out if you're in the area and would like to go. But props to Popa Bogdan for doing something like that. I think it's a really good thing to do, to get people all together and that sort of thing. Next, we have Changely, which is an instant crypto exchange, and they tweeted, "Check out our new video from our partners, Blockchain Central, about the Kik ecosystem and their native cryptocurrency, Kin. By the way, we're preparing something juicy for Kin fans. Have a nice weekend and follow our news for updates." Well, we haven't gotten any more news on that soon, but after the last video I made and that whole post talking about how they were getting swap partners and exchanges and all that type of good stuff in place, and this being an instant crypto exchange, I'm thinking that they will be a swap partner. It's really what makes the most sense, but we don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see to find out, but I think it's going to be something good, and I'm very, very excited to see what happens. Alright, next we're getting into the Kin SDK for Unity launch. So basically, Kin has been working on their Unity SDK for a long time, and this article talks a lot about it. I wrote up a whole thing, but I'm probably going to cut it down, realizing that a lot of it's repetitive, and hopefully stuff you guys already know. But if you aren't aware, Unity is the largest gaming engine in the world. It runs pretty much everything. If you've played a video game before, or a couple of them, you've definitely played something that runs with Unity. And they, within their kind of developer platform, have an asset store where you can easily add features and plugins and that sort of thing. And Kin has finally launched that for Unity on Android. So the software development kit is very simple. It was developed by this company called Prime31, which is the leading Unity asset store publisher, so clearly it's in good hands. It gives developers access to the blockchain in its entirety, so being able to create wallets, earn and spends, keep track of balances, all this good stuff is now available for people on Android, for developers who will make Android games. They built this out of a lot of research, attending Unity events, learning about what developers wanted and what they didn't want. A big thing was that developers wanted to create custom experiences with their own interface and not spend any time on the back-end blockchain technology. And over half of them said that they had below average experience with the blockchain, and slightly less than half said that they thought blockchain could help their game, their app, whatever. So they have a lot of examples of how Kin can help game developers. Just to go over a few of them, it's kind of the stuff you would imagine. So I'm going to use Overwatch as the example because that's the game I play most of the time. So let's say you play Overwatch, you can challenge another player for Kin. This is by no means saying that Overwatch will have Kin in it. I don't think that will happen ever, but this is the best example that I can do and just work with off the top of my head. But the type of thing where at the end of the game right now you can give everyone commendations, give them like a thumbs up, you were a good team leader, good strategist, whatever. So the concept that you could do this and reward people with Kin, the fact that you could possibly challenge people and say, I want to challenge you for this amount of Kin, for maybe particularly helping out a team, you would be rewarded Kin, all this type of stuff that would create excitement through peer-to-peer transactions, challenges, all that type of stuff It would boost engagement. It could reward players for getting certain achievements, like a certain number of kills in the game or any of that sort of thing. And the Kin blockchain can handle it. They can handle widespread adoption of millions and millions of users. So it's up there, currently available on Android with the iOS adaptation coming up in the coming weeks. And Kin wanted to let everyone know they're going to be running educational sessions to inform developers both at Unity events and just across the US. So if you're a game developer out there, or you've always wanted to be, now is the perfect time, because you could get in early on all this great Kin goodness. Next, we have the Kin Federation. So, as we all know, cryptocurrency projects are decentralized. That's kind of their whole basis most of the time. They don't all adhere to that, but it's important for them to do that, a lot of people think, for them to be considered legitimately crypto. So, Kin wanted to do this. They see decentralization as a spectrum, not as a final product, which I think is a very, very valid point, because there's a stark difference between having 5 points of decentralization and 1,000,000. So, based on how many points you have, there are trade-offs, and Kin wanted sufficient decentralization that would not compromise the product, which is, again, the best way to go at it, which Kin so often does, taking the best way to go at a problem. So they are working on a federated model. A federated blockchain is a form of permissioned consensus where validators are limited to those in the federation. Instead of allowing anyone with an internet connection to be a part of the blockchain and be a node, they're only going to allow certain people to have that permission. So this gives us benefits of a blockchain while also allowing us adaptability. This is kind of a very big deal because this technology is constantly progressing and improving and upgrading. So being able to get these updates pushed out to only a couple of people very quickly, a couple of people who they know can handle it, is very important. And it also gives us advantages with speed and efficiency since fewer parties have to validate a transaction. The members were picked based on their vested interest in Kin, so they are incentivized to make sure their nodes are in good health. They say down the road, other trusted services like wallets and exchanges will be able to operate nodes. These groups were picked because of their resources, location, and experience. So these are people who they know can handle this sort of thing, and the tools have been provided to them to make sure their nodes stay healthy and are working 99.9% of the time. For now, there's just a couple nodes, but there will be several more waves coming over the course of the year, and in the future, other parties will be able to join if they can prove that they have the technological competency. So now we're going to move into the hot topic, the biggest deal maybe in crypto right now, definitely in Kin. If you've been on the Kin subreddit lately, there has been a lot going on, a lot of activity, both because of Kin posting great stuff, a lot more just general user engagement, and a whole lot of drama between Kin people and particular users who stand out and all that sort of thing. As for that drama, I don't care to comment on it. Politely, I think it's a little bit stupid, but also I don't care to understand it. I simply don't. You know, there are a couple key people in the Kin subreddit who I kind of always find I can go back to. Coming to mind first are just Chase and Brady, but yeah, shout out to you guys. But yeah, to be completely honest, besides that, on the subreddit, I care about the content, not about the people themselves too much. While there are a lot of you out there who are great, who I'd love to meet, I can think of more of you right now as I'm doing it, but I'm not going to start naming everyone because I'll forget people. And while there are a lot of you who do a lot of great work, have a lot of great things to say and provide new insights, you know, I like your insights. I don't know any of you enough to particularly care, because that is part of, you know, being in crypto. The whole thing is kind of decentralized anonymity. I kind of feel like I'm, you know, one of a couple people who have made it very clear who they are within the community. Not that other people should, just that's the nature of crypto. But yeah, so a lot going on in the subreddit. The biggest thing right now on the subreddit, the biggest thing possibly on crypto Twitter, is Kin versus the SEC. Now, if you aren't aware, me saying that is probably one of the most terrifying things you could possibly hear, but we're just going to take a look at this real quick, because Ted posted an article on the Kin blog talking about the current dealings between Kin and the SEC. So a couple days ago, Wall Street Journal published an article about the SEC's upcoming decision on whether or not to file a lawsuit against Kik for their 2017 token sale. This came after the SEC chair, Jay Clayton, said, "I believe every ICO I've seen is a security. That includes almost every cryptocurrency from Ethereum on down. Funnily enough, Ethereum and Bitcoin are not securities." So, they weren't technically ICOs, I don't believe. I don't know enough about crypto, so don't roast me in the comments, but whatever. So, the simple fact is, cryptocurrency is seen by a lot of people as an investment. Investments are generally considered securities. Securities fall under the purview of the Security Exchange Commission, which they regulate them. They have very strict rules for the regulation of them, and these rules are generally seen within the crypto space as a way to possibly stifle innovation and cause more problems than good. So this is a thing that everyone in the industry is dealing with. Whether or not a project is willing to talk about it, this is something on their minds that they have to deal with. And Ted said, most of this is me paraphrasing exactly what Ted said, but he said, "For all of us to be able to continue hiring, innovating, and competing, we need to change that." So Kik, as the company that, created Kin, I'm just going to say Kin because it's easier. Kin first heard from the SEC a few days after the token sale had started, 4 months after they had first announced it, with it first being friendly contact for information. Since then, the conversation slowly ramped up, with more questions, then with subpoenas, and then formal testimony in Washington over the summer. This culminated in them issuing a Wells notice on November 16, 2018. The notice outlines why the SEC thinks there's been a securities infraction. So, a Wells notice is basically the SEC coming to you and saying, "Hey, yeah, we got you for these things." And it's not necessarily a guarantee, but this is them basically saying, these are the things that we believe you did wrong. So then, Kin submitted a Wells response on December 7th, 2018, which outlines the reasons why they don't think there's been an infraction, and they published a copy of it. All of this can be found in the description with lots and lots of links that I'll have to post. But the next step is for the SEC staff to take the documents and decide whether or not they want to recommend to the 4 SEC commissioners to authorize a case against Kin. Now, once again, this is not unique to Kin in the slightest. This is going on with a lot of projects, but they, being Kik, are talking about it. They feel like it needs to be stated, and it needs to be out in the open so that people can understand that this battle is something many people are dealing with, and Kik, this well-known backed company, the lawyers for this case are 2 very, very reputable, good law firms. They are taking this head on and dealing with it in the best way they can. So there's a lot of reasons why Kin doesn't satisfy something known as the Howey test. The Howey test is basically a test to determine whether or not something is a security or not. I didn't look into it, so, it doesn't matter. But there's a simpler reason as to why Kin is not a security. On page 11 of the 1934 Securities Exchange Act, the act that created the SEC, it explicitly states that the definition of a security shall not include currency. Now, in 1930, the only notion of currency anywhere in the entire world was the US dollar, the yen, the pound, the franc. I don't know currencies, but in the 30s, a currency was a piece of paper or a coin. That was it. As time has gone on, there are more and more currencies and ways to spend them, and with this whole digital technology boom of the internet, there's been a lot of advancement in them, but these things like PayPal and other payment processors are still dealing with the US dollar. Cryptocurrency is kind of the first true currency to spawn out of the internet and pop up as something, and the SEC has taken a lot of time to not say anything definitive about it. And by not doing that, projects have grown and grown, and now this is an issue that they need to deal with. And the SEC, I don't necessarily know how they stand. I'm not one to say, screw the SEC, fuck those guys. They're doing their job. At the end of the day, that's what they have to do. But it says in their act that created the Securities Exchange Act, a security is not a currency. A currency, I'm not using Google definitions here, but if I think of a currency, it's something that I can use within some sort of body, be it a country, an ecosystem, anything else, to earn goods, or just to purchase goods, to earn myself for providing something. It's a very simple concept, and Kin can be earned and spent in over 30 apps live in the Google Play and iOS App Store. Hundreds of thousands of people have exchanged Kin for goods and services. It is a cryptocurrency that is a currency. It's been functioning as a currency the entire time. So, Kin is taking on the SEC. There has been so much talk on crypto Twitter about what that means, but on big websites as well, like the Wall Street Journal, like Bloomberg, like other places that people get their news. I don't read news, I'm a teenager. But Kin, to me, is a currency. Now, I think what this really gets down to when they're going against the SEC, because some people have asked for my opinions on this whole thing, specifically, I think Reptar, so shout out to you, bud. This basically comes down to the SEC dealing with what they define a currency as, and the problem becomes, for them, the document simply says, shall not include currency. Now, by the broader definition of the word, Kin is a currency. The only other definition I could see would be the hyper-strict one of saying a currency is only something used by a country. Something to be exchanged for goods or services that is validated by a country. But that's not the way the world is heading. We're not getting to this point where we are being divisive and shuttering off what is valid and what isn't valid based on a country. We're kind of dissolving these borders and these walls, and I know people are gonna, say, oh, well, whatever, shut up. I'm not getting into that. I don't want to talk about it. But we're at a point where the definition of currency is changing, whether we like it or not, and the SEC needs to understand that. So if they wanted to go ahead and try and regulate this as something else, that might be okay, but I don't think that they can prove that Kin is not a currency. And there was another case with another blockchain that I'm forgetting the name of right now. I'm not going to find the article and post it. I'm so tired. I've been working on this video for like 2 hours. But it's another blockchain that lost, or that won a case. The SEC lost because a judge said they didn't have significant evidence for proving that that coin was a security. So I feel like Kin has a very good chance because they are this big company approaching the SEC head on, being transparent about it, that within their white paper, since the get-go, this has never been designed, they've never specifically said, like, this is a speculative investment. Kin has always been something for people to purchase, to use and spend, within an ecosystem. The fact that from the get-go, Kin has been treating this as a currency is important. Kin filed something with another governing body that I forgot to bring up, but essentially some other governing body, I believe within the US, and they filed as a currency. So they took all the steps necessary if you were to file as a security, but did it with another agency that deals with currencies because they believe this is a currency. I think a lot of people believe this is a currency. I mean, god damn it, it's in the name, it's cryptocurrency. So basically, here's how this can go down. The SEC can say Kin is a security, setting a precedent most likely for a lot of other projects. If it is a security, Kin may have to pay back investors, there could be fees, there could be a lot of stuff. It's not the end of the world, but it's a big hit. So, as far as I understand it, now I can't understand this stuff. It's too much. The US government has a lot of rules, and a lot of them are just really confusing. But if we're ruled a security, it's pretty bad, not the end of the world. If we're ruled a currency, we have created this model that other currencies can follow, other cryptocurrencies can follow to be seen as a currency, and we are able to avoid some of the harsher regulations. So, do I think we will be seen as a currency? I think it will be a long battle. I don't think this will be easy in the slightest, but I think the SEC will understand if they don't rule us a currency, they are destroying a very big industry right now, an industry much bigger than Kin itself. So we will just have to see what happens, folks. I mean, that's really all it comes down to. As Kin becomes further decentralized with the migration over to Kin 2, adding exchanges, adding more partners, more people earning and spending, as each day passes, kin becomes more and more of a currency, with more and more people basically agreeing that this is a currency and saying, I earn and spend this as a currency. And I think the more support they get, the harder it's going to be for the SEC to combat us with a case. But that's pretty much all for now, folks. I know this one was shortcut with edits. I'm honestly probably not going to watch the later half of it. I've been talking for 21 minutes, but yeah, that's what's been going on with kin. So, you know what? You can be scared. You can be hopeful. I'm hopeful. You can have whatever opinion you'd like, but no matter what, no matter how you view kin as a project, no matter how you view kin as an investment potential, kin is going to bat for cryptocurrency. They are fighting a fight for a lot of projects that don't have the money or time or resources to do so. So if you're out there watching this as any cryptocurrency project in the entire world, go out, give whatever support you can to kin, because not even that they may necessarily need it, but just because this impacts everybody with an interest in this space, and that's just an important thing for all of us to realize. So, folks, this is me. I'm the Kinformant. I've been talking for so long. If you'd like to donate cryptocurrencies or PayPal me money or anything, it would be super duper appreciated, and there are links in the description below for a couple of the big currencies and a PayPal link. If you would like to find me on Reddit or Twitter, I am on there as the Kinformant. If you would like to give me some kinny tips, if you go on the kin subreddit, this video will be posted in a kin post, and you can tip me some. I'll greatly appreciate it. I'll tip you a little bit back, not as much as you tip me, because then what's the point? But yeah, there's a lot happening. A lot's going to continue to happen, and I think we are seeing a lot of growth in the kin ecosystem just continuing to happen. So, folks, that's been all. Also, real quick, if any of the kin community managers or Ted himself is watching this, I know he's probably not. Hey, Ted, invite me up to Waterloo. I'll pay for it. I want to come talk to you, make a little video with you. Whatever. You're fighting the SEC. That's a dumb comment for me to say. Secondly, kin ambassador program. One of the former ambassadors, leaked kind of talking about it, and Dylan told him to shut up in the Telegram a long time ago. When's that happening, guys? I want to be included. I want to meet the kin people. I want to take a picture in front of that cool kin banner, but I just think that would be really cool. So, kin ambassador program. If someone wants to make a kin meetup for the general DMV area or the Eastern Seaboard, go ahead, do it. I'll do my best to attend, but that's all, folks. Kin just keeps going on. I've been the Kinformant, still am the Kinformant. This has been me talking to you. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.